Well, a fine good afternoon, everyone. This is Patricia, and I am traveling for history. I'm in Winooski, Vermont today, and the structure in front of us is the St. Francis Xavier Church. And you can see these spires from quite a ways away. But anyway, I thought you'd be interested in this because I thought it was also quite lovely as well. I do have a lot to read to you, so let's get started. St. Francis Xavier Church is a Catholic church within the city of Winooski, Vermont, in the United States. Built in 1870 within what was then known as a village within the township of Colchester, the parish church became one of the most visible landmarks in Chittenden County due to its unique double-spired design and proportional size comparative to its surrounding structures. The church was listed on the Vermont State Historic Register on November 22, 1993. After conducting a survey in the village of Winooski during the winter of 1867-68, Bishop Louis de Goesbriand initiated the parish of St. Francis Xavier to serve the population of some 800 French-Canadian Roman Catholics, or about 170 French-Canadian families. The first Mass took place within a rented hall in Winooski Block on March 22, 1868, during the fourth Sunday of Lent, with 200 parishioners in attendance. I actually made a video on the Winooski Block. I'll include the link in the description below. On May 13, 1869, 10 acres of land for the church, rectory, and a cemetery was sold for $4,000 by a local merchant, Francis Leclerc, to the Reverend Jean-Frédéric Audet, 1842 to 1917, who was appointed as the pastor in 1868 and served in that capacity until his passing on December 28, 1917. On July 11, 1869, a committee of parishioners was commissioned to raise funds for the church's construction. Members from Winooski included Francis Leclerc, Bruno Pepin, Pierre Allard, Pierre Desatel, Pierre Fontaine, and Louis de Goesbriand. Excavation for the building commenced on October 12, 1869. Construction of the church building began on May 1, 1870. Francis Leclerc, 1818 to 1889, who had emigrated from Quebec in 1828, established 2 brickyards, a grocery store, and served 2 terms in the Vermont legislature. Oversaw the construction of the church with another local merchant and eventual state representative Charles LaFountain. Leclerc provided the wood and bricks from his own brickyard for the project at a reduced price. Masonry work was completed by parishioners Pierre Fontaine and Pierre Villemer. The carpenter for the project was parishioner G. Rouillard, who was assisted by workers paid at their regular wage. For the cost of $1,500, the sacristy was constructed on the church property in September 1870. During that month, a portable harmonium organ was purchased for the church for $450. The first Mass was celebrated in the church without a finished interior or heating system on December 18, 1870. Bishop de Goesbriand made his first pastoral visit to the church on September 17, 1871, where he celebrated a solemn high Mass, sang Vespers, and conferred the sacrament of confirmation upon 110 parishioners. Historical accounts state that the bishop had made it plain to parishioners that the church was intended only for those who understood and spoke the French language, as a majority of the local Catholic population of the day was French Canadians. In 1867, village records had stated that Winooski had a population of 1,745, which was composed of 855 French Americans, 626 Yankees, and 264 Irish, who lived within roughly 296 buildings along 32 streets. During the time of its opening, there were an estimated 700 parishioners of the church. The church's original towers consisted only of the first tier, and I'll be showing you a photograph in a few minutes of that. So no worries about wondering what the heck I'm talking about. A buttressed second tier and copper-clad steeples were subsequently added to the towers by Joseph E. Lanoux of Burlington, with the assistance of a carpenter, Louis de Goesbriand, in 1882. By September 1883, steeple construction had been completed. A 3-bell carillon was purchased in October 1885 for $930, blessed on November 22, and installed in the belfry on November 25. The bells were made by the McShane Foundry in Baltimore, Maryland, and tuned in minor keys. Following French custom, the bells were named. The first bell, named Jean-Baptiste, weighed 2,260 pounds, that's 1,030 kilograms, and was tuned in the key of C. The second bell, St. Francis, weighed 1,200 pounds, that's 540 kilograms, was tuned in the key of E. Third, named St. Marie, weighed 744 pounds, that's 337 kilograms, and was tuned to the key of G. The bells were replaced with electronic chimes in 1978. In 1928, a 7-foot, that's a 2.13 meter bronze statue of St. Francis Xavier, weighing 1,700 pounds, that's 770 kilograms, was installed upon the niche on the front gable. In fact, let me pan in for you so you get a better look of that, maybe. If nothing else, though, I will have photographs on Instagram and Facebook under Traveling for History, if you want to see this, but it's here in the center right there. Oops, kind of hard for me to see it because there's such a glare on the camera, but it's right up, it's below the cross in the center there. Let me see. The interior of the church was renovated in 1942. The entrance of the church was remodeled in 1964. Modern hoods were installed over the 3 front doors, and from this angle we can mainly see one of them. That's this green right here, but over the other 2 as well. The brick walkways were replaced with pavement, and new steps were installed from St. Peter Street to the front entrance, and those are let me see, should be able to, oh, it is zoomed in. Okay, right in this area, right in here. Gosh, I cannot see, but I think you get the idea. There's the entrance to them right there. Let me see, where was I? In September 1968, an additional wing, designed by Marcel Baudouin and Walter Moulton, was constructed on the eastern side of the church, which hosted a baptismal font and served as a ground-level entrance for the elderly and disabled. The church organ. In December 1879, the harmonium was replaced by the pipe organ that was purchased for the church at the cost of $800, but the instrument was said to be worth $2,000. In May 1948, the pipe organ was replaced with a new instrument for the sum of $15,615. Gertrude Granger Pichet, the principal organist of St. Francis Xavier Church from 1930 to 1995, you heard that correctly, 1930 to 1995, 65 years, had helped facilitate the parish purchase of the prestigious Cassavant pipe organ that is set in the choir loft. The organ was officially dedicated to her in 1995 with a wall plaque installed in the church vestibule. Construction of the church's interior began on December 11, 1872. For the sum of $2,500, G. Rouillard installed the ceiling, pillars, and built a choir loft. The stained glass windows were created by Guido Ninchery of Montreal sometime between 1941 and 1948. Ninchery also undertook replacing the interior church paintings. Further improvements that occurred during this period included the replacement of the pews within the sanctuary, the altar, the pulpit, choir loft, communion rail, flooring, confessionals, and the sloping ceiling. Before I continue, though, let me show you a couple of photographs. This one right here is the photo of the church prior to the steeples being built on top. Pretty nifty, no? And that would have been before the construction of the steeples in 1876. And then there's this picture here. This is stained glass window within St. Francis, Xavier, created by Guido Nincheri. And there's that picture as well. Hopefully that's not blurry. I recommend to see it for a longer period of time that you pause the video to see the picture longer. The chandeliers were replaced with indirect fluorescent lighting. Recessed lighting was installed over the side aisles. The majority of the carved oak interior woodwork was undertaken by local craftsman Leopold Leclerc. The rectory. A small wooden rectory was built in 1870 and served as the dwelling for Father O'Day. The building was razed in 1876 and replaced with a current brick rectory that was constructed in 1887. The rectory's architectural genre is considered to be largely influenced by French Second Empire style, which was popular during the day. However, the use of casement windows is considered to be a typical construction method of the Quebecois. As for the rectory, we really can't see it from here. It's very well concealed by trees, but let's see if we do anything here. I can't see, but I know I can't actually really see it in real life either. The architect of the building, Reverend Joseph Michaud, was known to have later contributed to the design of the Cathedral Basilica of Mary Queen of the World, née St. James Cathedral, in Dominion Square in Montreal, and had also designed Co-Cathedral of St. Joseph in Burlington, Vermont. I have a video on that one too, so I'll include that in the description below as well. The building stands at a height of 55 feet to the ceiling and is approximately 70 feet wide by 130 feet long, and 5 bays by 8 bays respectively. According to an architectural report by the Vermont Division for Historic Preservation, the style of the church is a combination of Romanesque architecture and provincial French Gothic revival features. The report further describes the church's design, and I quote, "Fenestration," that's talking about windows, "is mostly stained glass lancet windows with drip molds. Front gable has crucifix at apex, riche with corbelled drip molds containing bronze statue of St. Francis, rose window with radiating spokes immediately below. Central entrance has Gothic arched opening with corbelled drip molding, elaborate carved and glazed double doors, gabled brick entrance porch. Flanking tower entrances are identical though smaller in scale and with single doors. Towers have large recessed panels on first tier, 4 gabled second tier with corbelled frieze, Gothic arched louvers. Copper spires have flying buttresses, Flemish Waldormer louvers, wrought iron openwork crosses on top," unquote. That's from the Division for Historic Preservation, Historic Sites and Structures Survey, 1979. Alrighty, I do have a few pictures from the same article. It may offer you a better look at some of these features. I do apologize. I can see it's time to change the ink cartridge in my printer because they're a bit pinkish or purplish for you. But this first one is a bronze statue of St. Francis Xavier installed in a niche on the front gable. And it's a little windy right now. That second picture from the left. The one to its right is an interior view of the church. And then there's a picture of the St. Francis Xavier rectory, the French Second Empire style. It's, think of this movie from Psycho, and that's the French Second Empire. And again, you may want to pause the video to take a better look-see at these pictures. I wanted to tell you about this building because I just think it's a lovely building. Especially with the twin spires, it's just really beautiful, and you can see it from all over the place. But that concludes this video on St. Francis. Thanks so much for watching. If you're enjoying my videos, you may want to consider subscribing to my channel. It would help my channel grow, and I would really appreciate that. You might also want to consider sharing them with your friends, because if you like the videos, chances are your friends will too. Thanks so much, and until the next one, you have a good day. Bye.